Greetings ladies and gentlemen, it's ZeroHero and welcome to my review of the Logitech G502 Proteus Core tunable gaming mouse. I did a unboxing of this mouse about a month and a week ago or something like that. So I'll leave the link for that video down in the description down below. And in that video I did a initial overview as well as a brief comparison with my previous mouse, the Razer Abyssus, as well as the Logitech G402 Hyperion Fury. So I've used this mouse for about a month plus, and now I feel confident enough to give you guys my review of this mouse. So here goes. Gonna be breaking it down to several parts. The first thing I'm gonna talk about is the price. So I got this mouse for 160 ringgits. Actually this mouse is priced about 240 ringgits or something like 80 USDs, 80 US dollars. So it's on the higher end for mice, kind of higher ends. But if you're gonna get it like somewhere around my price, 160 or 170 ringgits, go get it guys. It's an absolute steal. But if you're gonna get it at 240 ringgit, it's still a steal. Go and get it guys. Because I think this mouse is an absolute value for money, especially comparing it to its competitors around the same price range, mice from Razer and Steel series and stuff like that. This mouse has a lot to offer, much more than something like I'm not sure which Razer or Steel series mice is around the same price, but I'm pretty sure they don't offer overkill specs like what this mice does offer. So we're gonna talk about a little bit about the specs. We're gonna start it off with 11 programmable buttons. So there's the right click, left click, middle click, left scroll or right scroll, profile button, DPI up, DPI down, forward, backward, and the DPI shift button or the sniper button. So total there are 11 buttons altogether. Hopefully I mentioned all of them already. The scroll up and scroll down as well as this little button here are not programmables. So we have total 11 programmable buttons, and as well as a DPI performance of 200 to 12,000 DPIs, which is absolutely insane. There are no other mice in this market, to my knowledge, that offers up to 12,000 DPIs. That's absolutely crazy. So if you're the kind of guy who have like, 8 monitors or something like that, this mouse is going to suit you best. Even though I don't think it's up to 12,000 DPIs anyway. But if you do like that, I don't judge. 12,000 DPI is just great, it's just awesome. So if you like that, there's that. So like that's why I mentioned overkill specs, right? There's 11 buttons and 12,000 DPIs. What else do we have? We have customizable weights. This little blue thing aside here is a latch. Actually, you can like pull this down. It's a magnetic latch, so it's really easy to remove this latch. Yeah, so you take this off, and then there are like weights. I don't have any right now, but you can add customizable weights. You can place it at the bottom, place it at the top, to change the like sort of center of gravity. You want it to be front heavy or back heavy, stuff like that. So it's extremely tunable. That's why they market this as a tunable gaming mouse. So besides the weight, of course, and all the buttons and all that, and what else? It has surface tuning that comes together with the Logitech gaming software, in where you kind of like teach the sensor on this mouse, which is an optical sensor, by the way. It's not a laser sensor. It's an optical sensor which can reach 12,000 DPIs. I know, right? So you can teach this sensor to recognize whatever surface you're using this mouse on, be it a wooden table or a cloth mouse pad or a aluminum mouse pad, anything like that. Kind of just put it on your mouse and you click it, and then you kind of click one button and then you move it in a figure 8. It teaches the sensor to recognize the surface and to maximize its performance to give you the best result when it comes to tracking and all that good stuff. So it comes with surface tuning, which is probably special for this mice, even though it's on the software, Logitech gaming software, but it's only available for this mice. And what else? The scroll wheel is kind of special too, because it has a toggle button, where right now it's just a normal clicky scroll wheel, but if you were to click this button, you enter free scroll mode. And I don't know, maybe Logitech patented this technology or something, because I don't think I've seen this in any other mice mice besides Logitech, so do correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it's a really cool addition, because especially if you go through long documents or like long websites, Excel sheets or something like that, this little free scroll mode is pretty cool. I don't really use it that much, but I do appreciate it being there, which is all nice and stuff. The clicks, the left and right clicks, are rated at 20 million clicks, which is a heck of a lot of clicks. I don't think you'll be using 20 millions for the at least 3 to 5 years, so you got that covered, unless you're like purposely trying to torture the mouse or something like that. But otherwise, it's gonna last you for quite a long time. The feet as well, because these feet are rated at 250 kilometers. All these Teflon feet. Though I did hear of complaints about the feet. I'm gonna talk a little bit about that on the build quality later on. But they are rated at 250 kilometers, and as you can see right now, even though I've been using it for a month plus, it's absolutely nice and shiny. So if you're gonna treat it well, just treat it well. Use it on a nice mouse pad. Yeah, it'll be fine. You don't have to worry about it. So yeah, so that's all kind of about the specs. Oh yeah, and a braided cable. Yeah, so that's all about the specs. Now let's talk a little bit more detail about the weight. This mice, without any extra weight in it, is around 120 to 126 grams. So it is on the heavier side. Especially since it's a wired mouse, not a battery operated mouse, because if you have a battery inside, it's understandable that the mouse is kind of heavy. So this thing is wired and it's already 120 grams. So if you dislike heavy mouse, it's not exactly for you. If you want to like quickly moving around all corners of your mouse pad, it's maybe a little bit difficult, though the weight of a mouse is not something you can't get used to. Actually, in my opinion, it's quite easy to get used to something like this. And somehow, if 120 grams is not like heavy enough for you, I can't put this thing in. Yeah, okay, right, that's it. If 120 grams is not heavy enough for you, you can always add it more. So I did say that there are trim weights. I have it right here actually. It's kind of in this little hexagonal, pentagonal, 1 2 3 4 5 6 hexagonal box. Just open this and you have these nicely shaped weights. Each of them is 3.6 grams. You have like 5 weights in here, so you can add an additional 18 grams onto the mouse if you somehow feel it's not heavy enough for you, because I do know there are some guys who like really nice and heavy feeling mouse. I'm not really on the extremely heavy sided mouse, which is why I don't put any in, but if you like that, you can add additional 18 grams to the already heavy about 125 gram mouse. So yeah, there is that. Yeah, that's all about the weights. So it's a little bit on the heavier side, maybe as heavy as the G602 or maybe the G700S. Not sure how those mice weigh, especially since they are like wireless mice. But if you like heavy mice, heavy wired optical mice, then you should go for this one. So about the feel in the hand, my hand measures about 19 centimeters from the tip of a middle finger to the bottom of my palm. So for my hand size, I'm not sure if this is a regular hand size or a large hand size. I think it's regular for Asians, because I'm an Asian guy. It feels nice palming it actually. I use normally when I'm browsing internet and stuff like that, I normally palm my mice. And in gaming, during times where I need to make like precise movements, I switch to claw grip or fingertip grip. And it feels great in any form of gripping. So I use all 3 grips actually. And it feels great, there's no problem with that. And it grips nicely. And one of the reasons that it grips nicely too is because the thumb rest area, you see kind of textured area here. This thumb rest area has little textured diamond thingies as well as the right side. So my thumb as well as my pinky finger and my ring finger has really nice grip of the mice, even though there's no support for the right side. But if you do hold it like this, it still feels nice. You can grip it nicely, you can lift it up, it's not going to slide off your hand. And all the button placements are just nice as well. The forward and back is just slightly above the thumb, so you won't accidentally press it. At the same time, it's not difficult to reach. The sniper button is often difficult to reach. I don't really use it that much, but it's not impossible. It's definitely much more possible to reach compared to, I think, the G402. I tried the G402. These 3 button placements is not as nice on the G402 as it is on the G502. Though of course that depends on your hand. But for mine, if your hand is kind of like mine, the size I guess, or the length, then this is going to fit you quite nice. And some people say that they accidentally press the DPI buttons, while clicking. I've never encountered that actually. Never once did I accidentally click on the DPI buttons. Maybe that depends on people too, I guess. But for me, I have never accidentally clicked, so that's not an issue for me. And another thing that's not an issue for me is the wear on the feet. Now, like I said, it's still nice and shiny even though I've been using it for a month, gaming on this mousepad. So if you got a nice mousepad, it's okay. Your feet is not going to wear it, and especially since they rated it at 250 kilometers, so these Teflon feet are good to go. Though I have to mention that because before this, I have heard of reviews saying that Teflon feet has weared out, especially the one at the bottom here. It kind of wears out. I'm not sure why. Though I did hear of 2 cases. One is that Logitech kind of include extra Teflon feet in the box for your mouse for a replacement, and 2, there's a reiteration of the model or maybe like a slight redesign of this little part here. So I'm not sure which is true. And I didn't get any extra Teflon feet in my box, but I will say that it has held up to my usage, and you don't have to worry if you just treat it well using a proper mousepad, not on a table, or well, I don't think you can use it on a glass table, but just use a mousepad. End of story. And one more thing about, well, it's not an issue for me, that might be an issue for others, is the scroll wheel, because it's a metal scroll wheel, and sometimes you feel like you over scroll. It's like you swipe up and then it still scrolls for like half a second before it stops, as well as you scroll down and then there's like slight of a snapping feeling to it. It is something you can get used to. It's not a big deal, but normally for mice, the scroll wheel is not something that you try to get used to, but in this case, you kind of feel like you have to get used to this scroll wheel, especially since it's like all nice and slick, kind of feels different from every other mice, but at the same time it feels nice and heavy and clicky. So I still do like it. I'm just letting you guys know that you have to get used to this scroll wheel. because of the slight maybe over scroll feel to it. Yeah, so besides the scroll wheel, there is no acceleration on this. There's no noticeable acceleration on this sensor because it's an optical sensor. Even if you to maximize its performance to 12,000 dpi's, there's not going to be any acceleration feeling because Logitech themselves have claimed. So there's an end on my table. Oh yeah, get out of it. Yeah. So Logitech themselves have claimed that this sensor has zero acceleration and angle snapping or whatever, all those hanky panky stuff. So yeah, this sensor is good to go. No performance issues when gaming. And what else should I mention? The cable, I guess. Yeah, the braided cable feels nice. There's no fraying on the braided cable at the moment. Well, I've only using it for a month, so I guess there shouldn't be any fraying. But it's nice and solid and stiff. And this connector part here is flexible as well as sturdy, so you don't have to worry about it, yanking off or anything like that, unless you treat your mouse like crap, in which case obviously something wrong is going to happen. But otherwise, it's good quality braided cable and you don't have to worry anything about it. Which is why I say this thing is quite value for money, because the build quality is really solid, and maybe because since it's heavy too, so you get a good impression as though you're using a really nice and heavy solid mice. Though if you shake it around a little bit, maybe you can hear some sounds. It's from the scroll wheel actually. So yeah, it's a scroll wheel problem again. But there are no performance issues. Just that when you shake, it's a slight rattling sound on the scroll wheel. Not a huge issue. Just maybe annoyance if you're one of those guys who like to shake your mouse. Just shake it around like that, having a good time. So yeah. The clicks themselves are not too light nor too heavy. I did hear like Razer Death Adder users saying that their mice is too light on the clicking department, so they even get issues like double clicks even though they only single click the mice. In this case, it's not light nor heavy, it's just nice. You don't have to worry anything about that. So I think that's all for the overall feel in hand, build quality and performance of the mice. So we're gonna move on to the software side, the Logitech gaming software for the G502 Proteus core. So here's the interface of the Logitech gaming software. The cool thing is that if you have several other Logitech gaming series peripherals like the G710 Plus maybe, or the G302 or G402, they'll be listed down here, and you can actually select to configure each one of them individually, all under the same gaming software. So that's pretty cool. It's not like you need to install separate software, it kind of like merges all together in this one. So anyway, for the G502, the first thing you're going to be seeing in this page is that you can select between onboard memory and automatic game detection. Now, I've been using the onboard memory because it sort of saves your configurations and whatever changes that you've made, such as the DPI setting or whatever the functions that you program into your buttons, into the mouse itself. So whenever you take it out, you unplug, you bring it to your friend's house, your buddy's house, whatever, plug into your PC, it'll work exactly based on the configuration that you have set for your mouse, like the DPI and all that. So it'll save into the mouse. It's all good stuff. Though it's not to say that the automatic game detection system has nothing good about it. You realize that if I get to click this one, you get this extra function over here, which basically detects whatever games that you have installed into your PC. In my case, it's Counter-Strike, Global Offensive, and Dota 2. Yeah, I have Dota 2 installed, even though I don't actually play it because I don't enjoy it. But yeah, the games they will detect based on what they already have in their system, and they will like see what games that you have. So in this case, these two games, even though I have like Dreadout and all that, but there's no Dreadout, couldn't detect Dreadout, whatever. And so it starts off with your default profile with all your basic functions. You can assign your buttons to like cut, copy, paste, DPI, shift, F12, all the function keys, whatever. And the cool thing is, if you were to launch Counter-Strike, it will automatically switch to this profile where you can actually assign each of your button functions to stuff like chat message, your buy menu, your choose team command. There's a reload, knife, primary weapon, secondary weapon, inventory, console, all that good stuff. So this software does everything automatically for you, and that's nice. Though actually that's not to say that if you were to use the onboard memory you can switch profiles, because as you guys know, there is a switch profile button on the G502 itself. So we take a look at the part of the page. The most important actually part for this software is that if you look at this little box here, there's this profile button where you can switch between 3 separate profiles. Currently I have only 2 active because I don't see the need for a third one. My second profile is actually one that I saved for Counter-Strike. So I just switch between 2 profiles, and I switch between them with the profile switcher button, I call it. But of course you can actually set the profile switcher to any button you want, because they're all programmable, total 11 buttons. So that's pretty cool. To actually edit some of these buttons, you just have to like click on one of these. You just right click it and you click edit. Then you can actually assign different functions to it. It can be back, forward, scroll left, scroll right, switch profile in this case. Or you can even assign a keystroke like copy, paste, undo, and even a multi-key macro where you can record combination keys to be placed on the function of this particular button. So that's pretty nice. So there's a very diverse software here. You can program it however you like. If you look at the DPI sensitivity levels, I set it at 4, though you can have a maximum of 5 DPI sensitivity level, meaning that if you were to click the DPI shift button, where is it? This DPI shift buttons, you can switch between maximum 5 DPIs. So I have it at 4, and with the current DPI at 450, if you see the little blue diamond thingy there, it means that this is my current default DPI setting, which is 450, my default setting. And if it's orange color, it says assign shift, meaning if it's orange and if I were to press the DPI shift button, it will automatically switch to 800 DPI. Because you know that there's a sniper button on this mouse. A sniper button's function is for instant DPI shift or real-time DPI shift, so that you know when you're looking down enemies through a scope on your sniper rifle and you hit that button, it will slow down the DPI, it will slow down your sensitivity for a more accurate shot. Though I don't recommend it because it's not really good for your muscle memory, so I don't have any DPI shift buttons currently on my configuration. But if you want to, you could. This is by default is this one. I just kind of replaced it with Control F, the search button. By to right click it and edit, or any other buttons actually, you can select the DPI shift. Where is it? This one, DPI shift. So it'll bring this orange still assign shift to good use if you want it. Okay, it's up to you. But personally, I don't think I like that. You can see that it ranges from 200 to 12,000 DPIs, which is totally crazy. I don't think there's any other mouse at the moment that reaches 12,000 DPIs. If you actually use that, then good for you. You can actually set the settings by incremental of 50 points. So even though 50 seems like a lot, but from 200 to 12,000, I'm pretty sure you'll find a DPI that suits you best. Okay, so and the report rate, you generally just want to leave it at the maximum. So in this case, it's 1,000. It kind of means like reports per second, so how well your mouse communicates with your PC. So kind of just leave it at the highest. It's not like this mouse is like a battery operated wireless mouse, in which case maybe there's a use for a lower polling rate so that you take up less juice from your battery or something like that. So in this case, just leave it at 1000. It'll do great for your gaming, make it more sensitive and all that. So okay, let's move on to the next one. This little light bulb thing is for the lighting configurations. There's not much in terms of lighting for this mouse. It's not like the Razer Chroma or whatever. No RGB lighting. So basically what you're going to be tinkering with is just the little G logo over here. So of course this is just the brightness of the G logo, how bright you want it to be. I just set it maximum. Breathing effect is this little on and off animation. Well, I won't call it animation, but it's just on and off breathing effect, right? As the name implies. If you turn this off, it's just going to be on constantly, and this kind of sets how frequent the breathing effect is going to be, the frequency of the breathing effect. And DPI lighting is basically this little this the DPI lights. You can, if you just turn it on, you can turn it off for a little bit more flashy look, but I just turn it off because I don't know, it's not a big deal to me, so I just turn this thing off. Sleep timer, meaning like in this case, I turn it on for 30 minutes. So in 30 minutes, if I do not move my mouse, the lights will all turn off. So that's nice. If you do not want that, you can just turn it off, not a big deal. So it's nice they have this option over here. So that's all for lighting actually. It's not so much, but it's just enough. I'm not a lighting kind of guy, but if you are, then you probably won't be buying this mouse, right? Because it's just, yeah, just blue and this little G button. That's about it. Looking at the next configuration. Now this thing is, I think is unique to this mouse. If I have to plug in the G402 or maybe the G302, you don't get this surface tuning. So at the moment, I think it's unique to the G502. So what you do is that by default, you'll get this three factory default, G440 and G240. So if you have any of these mouse pads, you just apply this if you're using the mouse pad, and it maximizes your mouse sensor frequency, accuracy, meaning that it performs the best on this mouse surface. Now initially I thought it was just a marketing gimmick, but it actually works pretty well, because I taught this my mouse to learn the SteelSeries QCKMS, which is the current mouse pad I've been using, and I realized that actually before this, when I used my previous mouse, I did mention that one of the gripes I had with it is that it has a very high lift-off distance, and there's no way to tune your lift-off distance for this mouse, even though it's one of the Logitech's higher-end mouse. But when I taught this mouse to tune it to this particular mouse pad and I used it, I realized that the lift-off distance actually decreased to a really nice level. So yeah, it actually works. It's pretty good. And what you do is you click add new surface. So let's say you're using a Razer, maybe Razer Goliathus, yeah. So let's say you're using a Razer Goliathus and you click tune. And then what you do is you click your left mouse button and then you move in an 8 on top of your mouse pad, and this teaches the sensor to recognize the mouse pad and configures itself so that it for the best sort of configuration or something. So it's done and it's analyzing, and once it's done analyzing, it should be able to tune accurately, like it says here, tune precisely for maximum tracking accuracy on the current surface. So yeah, you can just add as many as you want for different kinds of mouse pads, or even your wooden desk or your glass. Wait, I don't think glass table works, but yeah, wooden desk or whatever that desk you're using. Though I do recommend using a mouse pad. So I'm just gonna delete this off, and we're gonna be using the Steel Street QCKMS because that's what I've been using. So yeah, this is pretty cool, and I highly recommend something like this if you well, I wouldn't say highly recommend, since this is the only thing special. So I'm trying to say that it's special to this mouse, and it actually has its use. It's not a marketing gimmick. All right, so let's move on. Now this, okay, this thing's pretty useless. I don't know. I mean, I feel it's pretty useless. What you can do is just basically just analyzes like how frequent you press each mouse button. I guess just play it and then just click around your left click, right click, DPI shift, up, down, whatever, and then you just like stop it, and then you see like how frequent you click each buttons and whatnot. Yeah, pretty useless to me. So let's move on then. So here's the little setting buttons. Generally, there's nothing really much here for you to set. Though for the G502 angle snapping, I recommend you to turn this thing off, because we all know angle snapping is bad. If you want to be precise with your accuracy, especially something like Counter-Strike. For Dota, I'm not sure how much it will affect, but just turn it off. Do yourself a favor and turn it off. Everything else is not of concern to you. So something like this button is nothing much, and it's like share on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to do that, if you want to share your love for Logitech's gaming software or mouse or whatever. So basically, so that's all for the gaming mouse, Logitech's gaming software for G502. Yeah. So in conclusion, guys, I think this is a huge step up of over my previous mice, the Razer Abysses. Well, it should be a huge step up, because the previous mice is like the lowest end Razer mouse, whereas this is the highest end of Logitech mice. But what I'm trying to say is that you're gonna get your money's worth. This thing is a huge value for money, and I recommend it hugely for its price. Even if you get it at full price, $80, though of course it's best to get it on discount, but if you get it on full price, it's still a great recommend for me, because especially of what it has to offer and all its overkill specs, compared with its competitors. Yeah, I think it's just an overall great mice and a nice solid feel in the hand. Well, I can say that it's not for you if you like flashy mice, those like RGB lighting with some lights at the front, lights at the side, lights at the right, lights at the back end, maybe at the bottom, I don't know, with like LCD screen, all that flashy stuff. Nothing like that. You just get a little G logo. So if you like flashy mice, this isn't for you. If you like light mice, this isn't for you as well, because like I said, this is 120 grams. It's a nice heavy solid mice. Again, mice is the weight of a mice is something that you can get used to, but if you are stuck to the old ways and you don't want to get used to the weight on mice, then yeah, it's gonna be an issue for you, because this thing is just heavy. Okay, nice and heavy and solid. So there's not really a downside for me, but it may be a downside for some of you, because I understand each of us have our own needs. So yeah, that's all for my review of this mice. I'm gonna be giving it a rating of 8 ZeroHero points out of 10. Though I don't have much experience in using gaming mice, because well, I don't have that many gaming mice. So this one is just based on my comparison with something like the G402, the Abysses, and a little bit of the Death Adder, because I have felt it around, used it a little bit. So I give this mice an 8 out of 10 based on my usage, and it fits me well. Probably gonna be using it for like a couple of years, I guess. There's no really real reason for me to replace it, unless it's suddenly like, like some of the buttons malfunction or something like that. But even so, Logitech gives 3 years warranty for this mice. So I feel secure. It's not a problem for me. You get 3 years warranty, you get a solid build quality, and overall great value for money. So there are no complaints there. Alright, guys. So anyway, feel free to like, dislike, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys. ZeroHero out.